Do your first. Yeah, that's why it's called Scream.
But I didn't want to actually scream because, you know.
Yeah, I don't want people to think we're being murdered.
Otherwise.
Sean, Katie, Sean. Katie's when we watched Scream.
Yeah.
Fun, wasn't it?
Mhm.
How many of them was there? Five Screams.
Yes.
So a trailer came out how long ago? 3 weeks ago.
The new Scream.
For a new Scream.
So I thought they finished doing these. How many more are they planning on doing? Is this
New trilogy.
So
5. This is 6, and then a 7.
okay. But,
I don't know what the plan is after that.
okay. But it's following the actors from the last one.
Yeah. First things first. After our last Scream video, which was us reacting to the last Scream film, I should say, someone said that it was obvious that I'd seen a spoiler for Dewey's death, which I hadn't. And
I thought it was that you knew who the killers were or something.
No, I knew who one of the killers were.
Oh.
But
yeah,
the problem with the last trailer, for the last Scream film, was that it made it so obvious that Dewey was dying.
The thing is, and it's kind of that trope, isn't it, where it's like, you know, he didn't want to be there, but then he was like, I've got to help save these kids. And then he comes in and he's like the mentor, and then he gives his life, and yeah. But
in the trailer, it showed you that bit where he's walking down the hospital emptying his gun, and he's by himself, and like in the soundtrack, it's called Dewey's Sacrifice, and I was like, what? You're basically telling us that he's dying.
Yeah.
It's like, and especially in the shot in the trailer as well, it's like, well, if he's not there with Sydney and Gail.
Thing is, though, with Dewey was always the punching bag, or the, you know, the pin cushion, essentially, because he got stabbed like 500,000 times. It's like I feel like because they're technically going for more of like a realistic approach with these ones, or at least the last one was a little more realistic. It would make more sense that he would get stabbed and he would die.
Yeah.
Because that, you know.
There's only so many times you can survive being stabbed.
Yeah. You'd think the killers would be a little more, you know, competent to know, and you stab them in a way that kills them.
Yeah. So the other thing to know is that Neve Campbell is not in this film.
Is Courtney Cox in this film?
Courtney Cox is in it.
Right, why is Neve Campbell in it?
Because there was a dispute over the pay. She didn't like what she was being paid and said that what she brought to the film deserved more, but the studio wouldn't pay her, so she's not in it.
Right, but she wasn't the main character.
She wasn't the main character, but she had been the main character for the last 4 films.
Yeah. I'm
So,
sure people probably have different opinions on that kind of thing, but...
So let's watch and see what we can find out. This is only a teaser. Play now. Oh my god! So
careful
loud.
Of your shoulders, man.
So loud.
Careful of your shoulders, you madman.
Oh.
Is this New York?
Yeah, that's not Woodsboro. Oh, it's a fancy dress.
Oh dear God! They're going to set in New York.
I think so, yeah. Oh, hey, Jenny Ortega. Oh, there's a few of them.
Guys.
Oh, look, it's twins.
Jenny
Ortega.
Oh.
A city of millions, no one hears you scream. Ooh. So I like it. Well, see, that's what I mean. Doesn't give you anything away whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like that's the kind of trailer these movies should have.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of, you know, them looking scared, a weird killer. That's all we need.
Yeah, like there's just... So it's interesting that they're doing it in a big city.
It's interesting that none of these people are looking at all suspicious.
I think it's because most of them are in fancy dress.
I know, but like he's taken Fancy Dress to the next level.
But you've also got to remember, Ghostface isn't a big phenomenon all over the world. It's only in Woodsboro that it's like a big
I know,
thing.
but the movies have come out in this universe, so do you think they would know what Ghostface is?
Yeah. Oh, look, that's Jenny Ortega. I fancy Jenny Ortega. She's awesome.
She was in the new Wednesday series. I haven't seen it though.
No, neither have I. So it showed you a few ghost faces. Like there was one sat down, there was one stood up in the back. You can see at the top of the back of his mask there.
So I mean, it seems like the kind of, so maybe it's obviously it's around Halloween and it's like people are dressing up as it. Obviously, the movies are like a hit or whatever you want to say. And maybe he's like camouflaging. There'll be a party scene where there's like a million of them. Yeah.
So what's interesting as well is that they've moved away from Woodsboro. Sam's the main character. What's his sister called? What was Jenny Ortega's character called? Is it not like Clara or something like that?
Oh, I can't remember. It's been a while since I watched it.
Anyway, yeah. So they've moved away, which is what they said they were going to do. Tara. I feel like it's something like that. That they've moved away, which is what they said they were going to do. The twins are with them.
Yeah, this is obviously the new gang that we've got right here.
Yeah, who else survived? Did anyone else survive?
I think it was just them.
Obviously, Gail survived.
Yeah.
Then there was someone else survived. I'm sure someone else survived. Oh, it doesn't matter.
No, I think it was just the twins and the two sisters.
So, motivation, I suppose, is the big thing. Every sort of killer has had some kind of relation to the main character, in Sydney in most cases. Obviously, in the last one, it wasn't so much Sydney as it was Sydney's story and
the movies that had come out as a consequence.
Yeah, see, Tara and Sam.
They were fans of the movies and they believed that they needed like a new kind of. So maybe this is set after, like a new Stab has come out. Is it Stab? Yeah, a new Stab's come out, telling that kind of story. I mean, Sam's was Billy's daughter.
Sam was Billy's daughter, yeah.
What kind of? I don't know.
So I've got a few sort of interesting things that I think Scream could do, but probably won't do.
Right.
Right. So one of them is the one-person killer. Obviously, they've only ever tried the one-person killer once, and it was Scream 3, and that one wasn't received very well because it becomes obvious in that film where there was supposed to be two killers. But obviously,
like the teleporting and
because
how can they get there when they're there? And
there was a major rewrite toward the end of the production that cut out the second killer, who was Angelina. Do you remember which one Angelina was?
Angelina.
Yeah, she played the new Sydney in the new Stab film.
Right, I think so.
It's
been a while since I've watched it, but I probably don't recognise.
You won't have gone back to watch it.
No, I don't voluntarily watch these kind of films.
So that was the original plan, was for Angelina and Roman to have been the two killers.
Okay.
She's the one who you see her getting dragged off. She's sort of at the bottom of the stairs like that, and she gets dragged off screen.
Right, yeah.
Because that was supposed to lead up to her being revealed as the.
Because she didn't
killer.
like die on screen. Yeah.
But obviously they changed it to one killer, and especially in that house, the end scene, it becomes very clear that there was supposed to be two
It was like 1 minute it
killers.
was downstairs, next minute it was upstairs on the landing, and it was like
back downstairs in the back rooms, and then he was out fighting Sydney, and then he was in the main room, and it was kind of like, it's obvious that there's supposed to be two killers.
Yeah.
But I think done well, one killer could be a good thing. Because the norm now is two killers, isn't it? Everyone expects two killers. But the reason two killers work so well is because when Scream 1 came out, everyone was expecting it to be one killer. And it turned out it was two killers. And that was like a big, oh. But now every film, there's always two killers. Now,
It's kind of like the following, like the model, isn't it? They're kind of afraid to steer away from what, like, you know, the kind of the shock factor of the first one.
Yeah. But there was a supposed plot that someone wrote a few years ago that never made it into the film, and I think it was supposed to be for Scream 4, but they didn't go for it. And the idea was that Stu Marker was still alive. So although he got the TV dropped on his face, he didn't actually die.
Right.
And that he was in prison, but he basically converted a bunch of kids into becoming like a murder gang. And so the sort of script that had been leaked was that Sydney would walk down this corridor and there would be loads of dead kids who had been killed by the supposed killer. And then when she got toward the end, Stu would be talking to her through a screen and all the dead kids would stand up, and it turned out all of the supposed victims were actually the killers.
Oh, that would be quite interesting, actually.
It would, and it's people have been begging for Stu to come back because they really enjoyed his performance as Matthew Lillard, or Shaggy as I call him.
Yeah, he's always going to be Shaggy, isn't he? Yeah.
But
it's interesting because it's like you say, surely there has to be some kind of connection between these characters. So is it just going to be like, I mean, I hope it's not like the mother of one of, you know, like Jack Quaid's character or something coming after them, because like that's, you know, like, who else could it be? Like the daughter, she's the daughter of Billy, and he kind of.
That's the thing, yeah.
What kind of relation would they have?
And the other thing as well is that, what's her name? Hayden Panettiere's coming back. She's coming back. She's going to be Kirby again.
That was in the last one.
But she's been confirmed that she's in this one. But this trailer does make it seem like there's going to be multiple ghost faces, not just one or even two, because there's a shot. There's a sort of sequence where you see there's one sat down. You see one just standing there and there.
Yeah.
And then you see that one who's just sort of standing in the middle.
There's one in the back.
There's one there. And then you get the one who looks like he attacks her.
That'll probably end up being something like, oh, it's just a joke. Like, you could see she looked a bit afraid, so she was like, it was like playing a joke on her or something. Either that or she's dead.
Yeah.
I wonder if she's going to be like the Dewey of... She's going to be like the blood bag. Because didn't she get stabbed in the last one?
Stabbed in the shoulder. My brother Chad got stabbed 3 or 4 times.
Oh, is he the Dewey then?
Probably.
I know one of them got like really messed up and were like, oh, he's dead. But then it was like, oh no, he was getting put in the ambulance. Yeah. That was him.
Because I think those two essentially represented Randy. Obviously, they're related to Randy. But when they made the second film, the director came out and said he really regretted killing Randy off.
Yeah, so does everyone else. I couldn't believe when they killed Randy. That was like, oh my god.
That was what he said. The point was to get that.
The shock factor.
Pardon me. The shock of sort of, oh my god, Randy's been dead.
I didn't even pick up as well because you were like, oh yeah, there's like the 3 survivors. And I was like, you mean 4 because Randy, and I didn't even pick up on that until.
I know.
So easily like convinced about it.
So I am excited to go and see it, and what I'm going to purposefully do, I'm lie down. I'm not going to go and see this in cinema. I'm going to wait till it comes out so we can watch it. And we might even watch the Scream series. There's a Scream series.
That's going to be so hard to do though because spoilers.
Oh, I know. I'm going to have to literally fight them off. My bare hands.
Yeah. You let them get to you last time.
No, actually, technically, it wasn't my fault last time. Yeah, basically what happened last time was Nicole said, have you seen Scream? And I went, yeah, of course I've seen Scream. Because she never said Scream 5. She meant Scream. And I was like, I thought she meant the first Scream. And I was like, yeah, I've seen Scream. And she basically went, oh, isn't it so shocking that it's his boyfriend? And I went, what? She was like, yeah, in Scream it's her boyfriend. And I went, are you on about the new one? And she goes, yeah. I was like, oh, I haven't seen that one. And she went, oh.
I can imagine her face.
Yeah, she pulled that sort of, it wasn't me. So yeah, it was a complete accident that I knew it was Richie in the last one. But I'm excited. I think it's gonna be fun. It's coming out in March as well. That's so close. I'm excited. Yeah.
Oh god, I can't even. Thing is though, the last one, it was so like, I remember when that attack where Tara got, the attack when Tara got attacked, and it was so like, oh my, I couldn't believe it. I almost like caught me off guard, like broke her leg and like stabbing out was like.
Stabbed in the hand as well.
I know. It was like really like violent, and like the sound design was like really like ugh. So it just makes you go ugh when you're watching it. Like
it was super strange as well because it was like you said, it was more brutal than the other ones, but it hadn't entered the realm of sort of Saw and Final Destination where it was like overly gory.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
There was one of them, wasn't it, where it was like really like where like the intestines was all of the. What was that one? There
was Scream 4 where they kill Jill's best friend Olivia in the house across.
Yeah, and literally our guts are like everywhere, and you're like, ugh. But it wasn't like that. But it was very like the sound. It just the look. Obviously, it's like a modern film plus the sound design. It just, do you know when like certain things go through you? It was like that, like when she got stabbed in the hand and like it broke her leg, and it was like I was like,
oh yeah, I know.
Like, oh no. And then the poor lass had to like be dragged around, and I was like, oh my god. I think that's something that they got down, was like that scene in particular. It was like, oh my god, get up, run. I know you've got a broken leg, but run, girl.
Yeah.
And it's just, and then she's like defenseless for the rest of the movie, and she's in a wheelchair. It's like, oh my god.
I really, yeah. With the last one, I liked how sort of original certain scenes were. Like that opening scene was obviously an homage to the first film, right down to the details where she picks the knife up out of the little like chalk thing and puts it back, just like Drew Barrymore does at the beginning of hers.
Yeah.
They have a conversation where it starts off, there doesn't seem to be any immediate danger, and then it sort of slowly gets to the point where it's like, okay, realise that you're in trouble. To the attack, and it's it was really good, and things like the hospital scene, I liked. I really love the hospital scene as well.
That's what I mean, because she's in a wheelchair, and it's like there are a few things in horror movies that like get you, and it's like, one for me, it's ladders, because you're not going to be fast going up in a pair of ladders.
No.
Someone in a wheelchair, because if there's stairs and you're screwed, aren't you? Just chuck them down and hope for the best. It's like, I just it gets me so stressed. I feel like there's gonna be loads of them in this. It's probably gonna be like an old person that can't do anything, a child that doesn't know any better. These are the things that get me in horror movies. I
just like, I don't know what it is. Do you know Scream? I mean, I've said it in my past. Scream is my favourite series of horror films, right? Because I don't get as scared watching anything else. There's something like I'd say human. I'd say there's something very human about Scream, that it's just someone who's a bit crazy killing people.
It's the fact that they die at the end, isn't it? It's like okay, there is a resolution. It's not like, oh, it's a superpowered person that can somehow survive all this.
Because that's what you didn't like about Halloween, isn't it? How he takes all those bullets, gets stabbed in the eye with the coat hanger, goes out the window, and he's lying there. They look away, and then they look back, and he's gone. And you were like, how could he possibly have survived that if he's just a human?
But this though, it's like, okay, fair enough. Is that they have like kind of like the trope of like the double kill, but they still die.
Yeah.
And it's like a satisfying end, because they've caused all this, the entire movie, they've caused all this death and all this like horror for these characters that you've grown to like, and then they die at the end, and it is kind of like,
yeah,
you're kind of like, okay, I could do that. I could be like those characters. I'd probably die straight away.
I think I would die if I got stabbed in the hand. Like, stab us in the hand, but my body would just go, nope. No.
I know. Like, it's poor Tara. Like, just give. I just hope she doesn't become.
She might be the new Dewey.
She might be.
She got proper wrecked in that last episode, didn't she? Like, she got.
Like the fact. I mean, the people that's got a leg literally broken, and it was like, oh my god.
Then she had to roll in the wheelchair with a stabbed hand, and you could see the blood on the wheels and stuff.
That was something else. I remember that. That was so. Oh, see,
It's
that's what I
cringy, innit?
mean. It's got stuff like that so well, and I am looking forward. Well, not looking forward, but I feel like they're going to do it well again in this.
Yeah.
The kind of like they know how to get people. Because if that was me, I would just give up.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I get a paper cut and it's like the end of the world. I couldn't imagine being stabbed in the hand and having to roll away in a wheelchair. Well, yeah.
It's not really the hand, but
No.
It wasn't a great epic knife either.
Yeah, but this is me we're talking about, and was.
Yeah. Hey, you broke your wrist.
Yeah.
Someone didn't stamp on it, like, but you still broke it.
Fell on it.
Because some people might argue against that, that what we just said, because there was a theory that Ghostface is actually like a spirit, and that he corrupts people and turns them into killers, which is obviously very far fetched and not very credible.
I do understand why people would think that because what was her name again? The main one. I forgot her name. Sydney, yeah, Sydney. Sorry. She for 4 movies, she was being terrorized, and it was all people that knew her. And I was kind of like, but the point of the movies was the fact the movies in the movie were like corrupting people. It was a big vocal point, wasn't it? At one point.
Yep. That was
the point of the last one. Literally, the last one that just came out was
toxic fans.
These like fanboys and girls that take it so seriously that they would go to the lengths of like creating their own movie. So it's to me it was never supernatural. It was always
but some people use it to explain why sort of sometimes the Ghostface killer seems to be either taller, like when Amber kills Dewey, which is taller than what Amber actually is. She's like 6 foot something when the person who plays Amber is like 5'7" or something. But I saw someone explain that I think that's part of the film. The directors are doing that on purpose to make you second guess who you think the killer is.
It's like, because let's be real. If I, for example, was the killer, I'm 5'4.5". You would
5'4"
and a half. That's very important to me. And you would look and you would go, well, there's only a certain amount of people that are this height. And the same with you, like with being so tall. So it's like, it is. Yeah, it's not.
I've never really minded.
Continuity, it's not. It is kind of a thing, but yeah.
I don't really care about it though.
Maybe they just wore like platforms.
Or Vader boots.
Yeah, it's a thing,
It always takes us back to the Scream, because even like the not very good one, which is Scream 3, and sort of certain parts of the other ones that aren't that scary, it always takes us back to the first film when I first watched it. And I've told the story before, just to get into that. I watched it on YouTube back when movies used to be allowed on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it's just that opening scene where there's the 2 pillars and she's hiding behind the telly, 2 pillars, and there's like just a black shadow goes across, and I absolutely wet myself, turned it off there, and then couldn't watch it. And that's how simple these movies should be.
They don't need crazy
over the top.
Yeah. Just get an easy story, figure out who your killer or killers are, and just
no supernatural stuff.
Yeah, make it as like, don't have someone darting around here, there, everywhere. It
should get to the end of the film, and then
you go, oh.
Yeah, but then on a second rewatch, you sit there and you go, makes sense. Completely makes sense. How did I not say that?
Was it the second one that I didn't like the fact that was it the second one? Because that was the one with Mrs. Loomis, wasn't it? The second one.
Mickey, yeah.
And Mickey, because Mickey just disappeared for like the entire movie, and everyone was like, "Oh well, yeah, but that's like because he was doing all this stuff," and I was like, "Yeah, but I didn't see him enough to even consider him as a potential killer."
Yeah. It's yeah.
It's like, whereas in the last one, like Jack Quaid's character, he was in it throughout. So when he was revealed to be one of the bad guys, I was like,
yeah.
Oh, he was with her the entire time, and and it was like, and then you think back to all the little moments where he wasn't there, and you're like, oh, okay, that made sense because he was killing that person or breaking that person's leg. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, to me, that's just it's clever. It's more clever than just having a character disappear for the entirety of the movie.
Yeah. And I think something else I would like to be in the new Scream, which I can't think if there was. I don't think there's been one since the second film. I think third film, no. Fourth film, no. I don't think there was anything. It's like a good chase.
Oh God, the chase. The one in the second one where she's kind of
easily the best one, isn't it? It's just fear-inducing, isn't it?
That's another thing, though. It's like if you don't know where you are, you're in like a maze, and you don't know where you are. They don't know where you are, and all you know is that they're trying to. It's like that's terrifying. That's stuff of nightmares. That's terrifying.
Don't you just want more of that, though?
No.
I do. Like, because there was one in the first film where he's chasing her around the house.
Oh yeah.
Well, he's chasing her around both houses, and then outside he's chasing her as well. Those are really good chases. Mm-hmm. But then that second one, that was a masterful one. That one when
the first one was like more open though, wasn't it? So while it was, it was still a chase and it was still quite suspenseful, but at the same time it was like, okay, she got outside. There's more space for her to go. Whereas that she was like in like she was in like a
recording studio, wasn't it?
And she was going behind these like little like separators, and it was like, oh my god.
And it's all one take as well, so you can see her sort of just go around the corner. And then Ghostface
comes
appears,
up and he's like...
And just sitting there going, move, move, move.
Yeah, and she's going so slow and you're like, you just want to like slap her and you're like, move, Courtney Cox.
Yeah, that's such a good scene in that film.
God.
So that's something that I would like in this as well. I want a really good chase scene. Something on, I mean, you couldn't really do it on a train, could you? But like...
I mean, they could. This is like This is like an American train though, where they can like, can't they go through the carts?
Yeah. But even then you couldn't like... You can't run, can you? There's not like a house or a recording studio.
Yeah, that's fair, but like that's the suspenseful point, isn't it? Until they conveniently get to the next station where they run out and they run up the stairs.
That wouldn't be good enough for me. I think they find an excuse to have them in a sort of not completely confined space, but a confined enough space that you could even do one of those one take shots where they're running and they're moving and they're hiding.
What would you pick though? What kind of place would you pick?
Well, if it's America have got all kinds of weird places that they could hide.
Like where?
I don't know.
I was like, I don't know, like a tall building where there's a lot of stairs and the elevator is conveniently out of use.
Not sure. I suppose we would need to know the context of the movie. We need to know like where they are.
I imagine it's like it looks like it's set in around Halloween, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there probably will be a party scene with a bunch of them. If I've called that, mind, just remember this day. Yeah. Because it's like, again, that's like a movie trope, isn't it? Where it's like they walk into a party and they're like, oh crap, but except they don't say crap. Yeah. And it's that there's like loads of them. They're like, ugh.
Wasn't that was Scream 2 as well, wasn't it? When they were in the cinema, there was like hundreds.
And they were all cheering this last being gutted, and you were like,
yeah.
At what point do you go?
That's the other thing as well. Maybe like a really strong opening. Because now that I think about it, almost. Oh God, yeah. The second one was the second opening was completely different to the first one. Right, the first one was like private house, 2 people killed. The second one was like completely public, and it's arrogant to the point of ridiculousness that he kills this lass in front of all of these people
and somehow doesn't get caught.
And doesn't get caught. Yeah. Well, that is explainable.
Yeah,
they're all pretending to stab each other anyway, aren't they?
I know, but yeah, still.
Then there's that, but then Scream 3, it's exactly the same as the first one because it's 2 people getting killed in the private house as the killer's talking to them. Mm-hmm. Fourth one, there's the sort of creativeness of the film within a film within a film within a film, but then it's the same thing again where it's 2 people in a private house getting terrorized by the caller and they both die. One of them even dies off screen, And the fifth one, as we've already said, is a homage to the first one, doing it again. It's a private house. It's one person getting attacked. Maybe come
she
up with
doesn't die though.
Well, but that's the only original part in it, isn't it? Maybe come up with a really original opening, like a really proper, like blow your pants off, proper, like. So we sit there and we go, oh, that was awesome.
I don't know. What?
Neither do I.
I'm not creative enough to.
I saw that someone said they would
like
something that's never been done before. Is someone figures out one of the killers early on.
But doesn't figure out who the second one is.
Yeah, but and that would lead into a chase. They're trying to get to the group before the killer gets to them, but they run into the killer and then they try and run away and try and get away from them because they figure out who the first killer is.
What if, like, I don't know. I was gonna say, like, what if, like, one of the killers is one of, like, these kids?
No, you never know. I don't think that's been done before, has it?
No, that's why I thought it, but then I also thought, well, that'd be a bit weird because they were all attacked in the last one. That's probably why it hasn't been done, because you'd be like, well, why would you kill when you've almost been killed?
Post-traumatic stress. But yeah, that was us talking about Scream. That was a lot longer than I was expecting.
We just ended up talking about the other movie.
Because I love Scream. I love it. Let us know what you think down in the comments. What cool stories would you like to see? What cool things would you like to see? Is there anything you want to get rid of? Chase scenes. What did we say? Chase scenes opening. I'm looking forward to seeing Hayden Panettiere again.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. Where's a good place for a chase scene to happen in New York? Because we've never been to New York.
Yeah.
We don't know places. You know, similar to that one in Scream 2, where it's not really confined, but it is quite confined in that, you know, the little corridors that she's running through.
It might just be something like another building. Like, just like a big... I don't know, like a big building, and there's like stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff around, like a
skip. Like a
I was thinking more of like a big room with a lot of chairs, like a meeting room.
The meeting rooms tend to be wide, don't they? Quite wide and quite open.
Yeah, but there's loads of chairs because there's been meetings.
Yeah, but they're not just
like a.
they're just gonna stand either side of the table and go.
Well, you don't know. Yeah, that would stress me out. Do you go under or do you go over? Like,
I'll just leave the room.
But no, no. No, but
yes.
what I meant was, like, imagine, like, I know what I mean. You might not know what I mean, but I know what I mean. Like, imagine, like, a room with like a projector where they're like doing, like, you know, like graphs and stuff,
business stuff,
numbers and interest and that, and there's like loads of chairs because they're all like watching. They go, oh yeah, you know what I mean? And they're like having like an auditorium. Is that what they call it in America?
Isn't that what happened in the second one? They were in a big viewing room with a projector, weren't they?
Are they?
Yeah. Because Dewey goes up to the top where the projector is, comes out, and then somehow the killer's somehow magically behind Gail on the stage.
No, but I was thinking more of like just like a room.
Alright.
I know what I mean.
Yeah.
With loads of chairs and then falling over the... I'm just trying to think of ideas here, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
Like the video, subscribe, ding the bell, we notify when we upload. We upload every day. Anything else you want to say?
This is why I'm not a writer, okay?
Imagine that, right? So I want to film a scene, right? It's going to be in a room with loads of chairs and a projector, and they're going to talk about interest and graphs.
No, there's not going to be people in it. But, like, that's what you know what it's used for.
Oh, dear.
God, you know, try to think of an idea.
Thank you for watching.
I need to know.